Welcome to the horoscope for the week of June 25th through July 1st of 2023. So this coming Sunday through the next Saturday. So there's so much going on with Mercury and Saturn this week. We also have a personal planet changing sign and an outer planet going retrograde. So there's so much to dig into. And I want to start off with Sunday because it's a very, very big day energetically. Because we have Mercury squaring Neptune. So Mercury's in Gemini. Mercury is in the sign that it rules, so it's in its domicile. So we're thinking more, communicating quicker, sharper, more intelligently, connecting, learning new information. All these things come very easily with Mercury and Gemini, and we may be learning multiple things. So we're very adaptable. And Gemini can go off in multiple different directions, and there's not a whole lot of focus and direction with Gemini because of that mutability. It finds stimulation and it just wants to go wherever it wants to go on the mental realm. So, that's Mercury in Gemini. And Mercury being the planet of communication and intellectual thought. And becoming very quick and busy with Mercury and Gemini. And then Neptune, which rules over all the wonderful things, your dreams, sense of compassion, sense of oneness, sense to a connection to the divine. It relates to a soft and smooth, open and receptive, emotionally, an empathic connection to, the world around you and to, the invisible worlds. Neptune rules the invisible worlds, or what cannot be seen. But the downside of this planet is about deception. It is illusions where we can't really see things clearly. We feel like we are driving in the fog, where we're not really seeing the road ahead. And it's hard to find the answers with Neptune. It's hard to find, okay, we're clear on a particular direction. We have our eyes in a map drawn out, and we have this sort of system and structure, because Neptune certainly is not grounded in reality. And so the square indicates conflict and tension, which is sort of the two planets are at war. The two planets are fighting, and it's very uncomfortable. You notice the negative expressions of the planets coming to the forefront when there is a square. But that discomfort really asks you, okay, this is something that you're doing. Let's turn the awareness on and let's change something. Let's make something different. And how are you going to grow and how are you going to become better? I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling tense. I'm feeling negative, drained, frustrated. I'm struggling. So what can I do differently? And how can I make the best use of the square energy? So that's with the square invites, and it's 90 degrees. Planets are 90 degrees of each other when they're squaring. So with Mercury square Neptune, there's a conflict of our logical mind, logical, rational thinking, which is Mercury. Mercury wants to know how to do things, how to get things done, where to go to find the materials. Let's plan it out. Let's map this out. It just wants information, and it wants to make productive, substantial use of that information. That's Mercury. And so there's this conflict between the logical mind, and then our intuition, our inner knowing, our deeper inner sense of, what's right, what's the right place to go, what are the right things to do, that can come from a much more feminine sense inside of ourselves. So Neptune rules over spirituality. It rules over your intuition, what's deep inside you, your spiritual center. And so there's this kind of conflict where you don't know. There may be some indecisiveness with the square where you might not know what action to take. You might be at a fork in the road where you're not sure, feeling, just very unsure and confused about what to do, what action to take, what path to go down. And so, there is this conflict where it's a lack of clarity, where you may be having a conversation and you may think that you understand what this person's saying, but you may find that there is a misunderstanding, a misconception, a struggle, or a flaw in that conversation that makes it very difficult to latch onto, okay, this is what this person said, this is the plan, this is what we need to do. So it is not the best energy for negotiations unless the people are willing to sit down and really take the time to understand each other and where they're coming from, and tap into the spiritual energy of one another and understand where they're coming from at a spiritual and soul heart level. Conversations may be more difficult. The square is also not good for any work that involves paying attention to the little details, any Excel spreadsheets, any, accounting, any thing having to do with insurance, or what kind of, how many tiles do I need in my kitchen? Or what do I need to do for this company to make a better efficient system? Or, organizing or planning, or writing, because Mercury deals with writing. Anything involving communications, especially writing, there's just this, I feel like with the square, there's maybe a tiredness energy, a lack of motivation, a feeling like, oh, this is so much work, I don't want to do this. I'm confused, I'm distracted, I'm disoriented, I can't focus. I just want to take a break, I don't want to do this. And so that's how it may feel, where you may be trying to focus on a particular task. You may be trying to put all the work in and really get your mind at a place where it's focused and paying attention to the details, but it's hard with that Neptune energy, making things less clear for you to see and understand. It may take longer to grasp or understand things or get things clear, get information clear when you're doing things. And it just creates a feeling of wanting to dissolve the logical mind, details, all these kinds of things. And so that's, where they are. So with the confusing energy of Mercury square Neptune, I would definitely say to tell the truth, to be as honest as you can with the people around you. Tell it like it is. Be honest. Be open. This is what's going on. This is what I think. This is what I feel should happen. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to say this in a way so that you can understand it. I'm going to simplify things. So being honest about yourself, your flaws, your plans, your ideas, and what you want to say and what you want to implement and what you're trying to express with the other person maybe laying out a plan, or maybe talking about a change in your relationships, or talking about a new job opportunity, whatever it may be. It's very important with this energy to speak from a clear, deliberate, honest, and truthful, in a truthful way, and in a way that is true to the point. Now, another thing that I would say with this square energy is really the invitation for this is to go inside, to find time inside yourself where you can reflect. This is an energy where you may feel lack of motivation or interest or passion for the day-to-day mundane things that you want to do. So I really suggest spending the Sunday doing things that are self-care activities that are nurturing for you. What I'm going to probably end up doing is sitting down and meditating in the afternoon and having music playing, like really slowing down my body, tapping into my breath, relaxing everything, surrendering the emotional and mental informational overwhelm that I may be feeling. Because another symptom of this is feeling informational overwhelm, being very bombarded with information coming at you, boom, boom, boom. And so it's so confusing, it is too much, and detaching from social media where you feel drained and too many ideas, too many things in your mind, I suggest meditation for helping you to get that monkey mind under control, to sit down, to relax, to just let yourself think and feel whatever. Close your eyes, have some music going on in the background, and find peace. Find a sense of presence, of calm, of balance inside yourself. That's going to be really important. I would also say is definitely reflecting, definitely taking time for some reflection, or anything that you can do for self-reflection. Spending some time with yourself, taking that day off of doing the plan that you intended, unless it's an obligation, just sort of having a chill out Sunday. And it's okay if certain days of the week are mundane or, boring. And, sometimes that's, what we need. And sometimes there's this bored energy that you feel where I'm bored with the things I have to watch, have to read, have to do. So guess what? I'm going to take that boredom and I'm going to do something spiritual with it. I'm going to do a spiritual practice with it. So, it's okay to have a lazier, quieter, chill day with not a whole lot of action or motivation. It's a day to just relax and chill and take a break. So that is Sunday. Now moving on to Monday's energy. Now, June 26th, we do have a quarter moon in Libra, so we're in between the lunar cycle of the new moon in Gemini that we had on June 17th and 18th, and then the full moon in Capricorn coming up on July 3rd. So this quarter moon, we have the sun in Cancer squaring off with the moon in Libra. And so, Cancer is very introverted, very, feminine. It wants to feel, it wants something sacred, something very sensitive. It wants to go inside its home. And Cancer really wants that sacred sanctuary, which, it's very feeling. And Libra is like, let's Decorate. Let's invite these people over. Let's be social. Let's, have a more intellectual perspective on our feelings and really look at both sides of a situation and be more open, be more socially open, and less sucked into our emotions. So those kind of conflicts, maybe, another thing is passive aggression, maybe part of this quarter moon, people pleasing, brushing things under the rug, not really standing up and speaking to the matter of certain issues, and also becoming, a need to go inside and a need for inner peace, emotional security, but with that also need to open up to people and to speak more verbally and to have those connections. So those might be possible conflict areas during this time. When the moon's in Libra, we can really spend time to balance our lives. The moon in Libra really seeks to create harmony, to create equilibrium, where we feel like we just want peace in our relationships. We just want people to get along. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want conflict. So there is this great need for people in your physical environment to be harmoniously balancing and soothing to you. So we crave peace and harmony on an emotional level. So it's a sweeter influence with the moon in Libra for those couple of days. So we want to cooperate. We want to get along with other people. That's really the emotional need. What do you think? Valuing the opinions of other people. We don't want to do things alone while the moon is in Libra. We want others to be surrounded by our side. We want to do things together. So yeah. Libra rules the scales. So anyway, the other two things that are happening, bigger things, is we have an aspect between Mars and Uranus, which is a square. And so Mars, which is, assertion, it is motivation, it is drive. When you know Martian energy, it is loud, it is energy that is directly right in front of you. You can't ignore it. It says, here's an opportunity. Let's go towards it. Let's take initiative and let's take action. Mars does not want to wait around for other people to do it for them, or doesn't want to be held back by other people who, take longer. It just wants to go in and get the thing done and do something. And it just gives you the, really, taking, the reins of whatever you want to do in your life. And Uranus is freedom. It is the planet of revelations. It is sudden truth that liberates you out of your state of being that you're in, maybe your red state of being. Uranus wants to just shake up your comfort zone. Whatever Uranus does, it wants to bring you closer toward yourself and your individual self. No matter how wild, how crazy, how sudden, how dynamic, how unstructured it may be, how on a whim and on a dime it may be. Uranus is about self-actualization in brand new ways. So Mars square Uranus, there can be unpredictable, wild circumstances that may just come up. That may be one possibility of this. Although, considering the state of my life, I think this should be a schmo day, but I'll, get into more later. So, there could be more wild circumstances on this particular day and around this particular time when this square is in effect. So yeah, Uranus is that wild card energy. Flips the table of chess over. So yeah. So you could be feeling more impulsive. feeling like you just want to, do something, just to take action and do something is, super important. And you just want to break out of any limitation. You want to liberate yourself. You want to take a risk. You want to try something new and try something fresh and exciting and novel with this particular square. But because it is a square, it's so important to be mindful of the risks that you're taking and making sure that they are for the highest good of all, that they're not hurting your relationships, and that they are safe and they've crossed off those ethical, moral boxes, um, you know, especially because it can leave you with a feeling like, oh, I don't want to sit on this energy. I just want to take action. I just want to do something. I just want to try something new. So that's what this can feel like. There's a frustration with things being same old, same old. You just want to have an adventure, take action. So that is something here. And, you just want to rebel. And Mars Uranus really brings you closer toward your individual self, who you truly are. And you may find that this is an invitation to be unafraid and courageous to express your individual quirky self that you are, and to do something that you want to, that you think is, new and exciting, that's true for you. So, um, you know, so more of a rebellious, but of course the downside of Uranus energy is one that can rebel for the sake of rebelling. What is the cause? What is the reason? What is the motive behind rebelling or fighting back? That motive is super pertinent to consider. This can also be where you can, because Mars is assertion. Mars is about fighting. Mars is the fighter energy. It's the warrior energy. It's about, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. I'm going to stand up to what I'm strong about, because Mars demands that you really have that backbone to speak your truth and to live your truth. So both Mars and Uranus energies align you with that. And so if you feel strongly about something, if you feel very intensely about something and you want to express that and you want to take action and change something, and now is the great time to do it. And so, yeah, so it can feel very liberating. So then the other thing that's happening on the 26th of June is we have Mercury coming into the sign of Cancer. So Mercury is joining, actually joined with the Sun in Cancer on July 1st. So that's more about intellectual clarity. You're feeling more social. You can express yourself, speak what's on your mind more easily, connect with people, put yourself out there, and really come another step closer towards your individual self. So, Mercury in Cancer. Now we're thinking more emotionally. Now, because Mercury is the mind. Mercury is very intellectual. It has a streamline of thoughts that goes through it. It's so many thoughts, very, very overwhelming. It takes in information, it absorbs these thoughts, and it puts it in its mental files. And so Mercury in Cancer's mental files are deeply personal, deeply resonant, and deeply profound on an emotional level. Because Mercury in Cancer thinks, it takes in information, and it can be easier to take things more personally. To take, when people says something to you like a criticism or something, it can be easier to take it more personally and to turn in on yourself and put that into your own consciousness. where you may become a sponge for all the external information and facts going on about this time, because you're absorbing all this information on an emotional level. Making decisions, speaking, learning, any conversation that you initiate, any interaction that you have is more based on your emotions, and you could find yourself speaking more from an emotional place as opposed to a mental place, or the high road is balancing these two out. But sometimes we get so caught up in what we're feeling that we leave our, the logical mind and what's, realistic and, hard fact and reality and what's practical. Because Mercury rules Virgo, looks for the realistic, reasonable solutions to things. That can get sort of squished a little bit with Mars and Cancer. So you want to be mindful of not, of feeling what you're feeling and having a strong sense of your feelings and knowing what you want to do, knowing what you want to say to a person. But then also, is this logical? Is this practical? Is this efficient? Is this going to work? Is this ethical? Um, Basically, is this right? So you want to make sure that those are balanced out. In terms of speaking, we can again speak more honestly, speak more genuinely. We really, we're not just saying stuff to say stuff. We really mean what we say on a heart, level. It is genuine. It is true. We really mean this. We really want to give this. We really want to express this. So it's a wonderful opportunity to speak, to speak about what you are feeling and to be open about your feelings, vulnerable about your feelings, always with Mercury and Cancer. And so, in terms of going back to the whole logic versus emotions thing, we can also be very connected to our instincts, our gut sense of what we should say, what kind of article that we should read, what conversation should we engage in. So that could be something to hear, or we may think more about our home and our family during this time as well, and maybe nurturing, caregiving, mothering, and loving, and speaking from our heart. Um, the different, a more verbal love language during this time. So communicating thoughts of loving affirmations too important here. So, and then a sense of, other thing I was, something interesting about this is, memory, of having a very good pinpointed specific memory of when someone hurts you, wrongs you, when this conversation happened, when this interaction happened, when this event happened in your life. You may remember and feel those feelings very, very deeply too, with Mercury ruling the mind in Cancer. So then, moving on to June 28th, we have the Sun trining Saturn, and this aspect is overall good for getting work done, really persisting, really focusing our attention on getting the work done with willpower. You can use this very productively to get things done. I would invite you, whatever you need to get done, achieve. This is the time to do it. With the people in your life, there's more of an integrity. where you have a heightened sense of, okay, this is what I need to do. These are my obligations. These are my responsibilities. This is the work that needs to get done, and I'm going to just get it done. So yeah, I'm going to be unafraid, willing, productive, and get it done. So getting anything that you need done during this particular time is good to do. Where you have a promise and you have a lot of integrity and you can be true to that. You can commit to that during that particular time. So I just want to keep it simple. It is a good time for getting things done. But also the sun is, how you express yourself. It is your individual self. And so it wants to shine a light down to the others, just like the sun shines a light down upon the earth and helps the plants grow. So teaching people, guiding people, giving people advice, helping them to self-actualize or be self-sufficient or empower them to get things done, to be productive, to achieve success, and to step into their own independence and to their own work ethic, and to inspire them about the value of hard work is, something important. We're telling them hard, real, true, honest, practical lessons that are absolutely true in life. And you're giving them that hard earned wisdom through that hard work, just like the Jupiter Saturn sextile, because Jupiter's faith, it's wisdom, it's very philosophical. So that is another part of this too, where yes, you can definitely use that to guide and teach people wisdom and inspire them to be their best selves and to get work done. So then on June 30th, Mercury is trining to Saturn. So this is another day to be really practical, to get good done. And when any positive Mercury Saturn alignment, Mercury in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, is good for any sound judgment where you have, you're more clear, you're more logical, in terms of thinking. It's good for, attending to the details of things, being very productive. Yeah. So you can put your mind something, you can achieve it, you can follow through with it. And so that's overall a very positive use of the trine of Mercury and Saturn, because trines are very harmonious in nature. They're very easy, and they provide good energy, but it's our job to take advantage of that positive energy, that inspiration, that joy, that openness, that enthusiasm, that positivity that we have with a trine, and go towards an opportunity, because we can sit on that energy and then we can just let it pass us by. So that's important here. Then on June 30th, we have Neptune going retrograde at 27 degrees of Pisces. So Neptune's done this. It's not the first time around the block. We've been around the block before. Neptune's retrograded in Pisces since 2011, 2012, when Neptune first entered Pisces. So Neptune in Pisces had more people really finding outlets for spiritual truth and spiritual wisdom. Anything that involves the mystical world, the occult world, I guess you could say that, or the spiritual, any spiritual activity, or faith or religion. More people have become, more attuned to what is their spiritual truth when Neptune went into Pisces. and it's still continuing to be at Pisces. Something really interesting is that 2 years from now, Neptune's going to step into Aries in 2025. And what it's going to do prior to that is it's going to spend some time at 29 degrees of Pisces. It's just going to hang out at 29 degrees of Pisces, intensifying everything that has been, happening. And what Neptune in Pisces is about, its qualities, that much more when we have Neptune hanging out the last degree of Pisces next year. So anyway, so Neptune will be retrograde in Pisces from June 30th to December 6th of 2023 at 27 degrees of Pisces. So when Neptune goes retrograde, when this planet of, dreams, visions, spirituality, compassion, bliss, divine connection, illusion, disillusion, all these traits, when this planet goes retrograde, we're more easily, we can get more, we can escape more into things, escapism, getting sucked in and losing all sense of time and reality can be easier when Neptune is direct, because it has more power when Neptune is direct. But when it is retrograde, we can actually become closer to reality. We have a sense of clarity, of intellectual clarity, and we're more thinking more realistically, seeing things as they are, as opposed to how they wanted to be. Where the rose-colored glasses, we can take those off for some period of time. So it's not becoming less spiritual, but it's sort of taking a spiritual nap, maybe, taking a nap, because when planets go retrograde in general, they take a nap. And this retrograde shouldn't be super intense like a Venus or Mercury retrograde. It's sort of, when outer planets go retrograde, they're more underneath the surface of things. They're more quiet. They're more in the background. They're not so much at the forefront of our reality and our conscious awareness of what is going on in our lives and our attunement to the stars and the energies. It's more looming down there, and it's a quieter, more subtle sort of tune where there's this energy that is an undercurrent that we can use, but it isn't so, so intense. So, it's not as strong as, say, the personal planets going retrograde. And also the pre and post shadow of that retrograde is not, we don't feel it as strongly as, say, Mars pre-shadow, Venus pre-shadow, the shadows, the pre and post shadow of the personal planets and their retrograde season. So this can also be a great time for reflection, of really going inside yourself, spending some time reflecting on your spiritual truth, reflecting on what you want to do for yourself in the Pisces house in your natal chart. So going inward, more tuned, more self-aware to your emotions, to what's going on with you psychologically, to your unconscious impulses, to your habit patterns, and what you need on an emotional and spiritual level, and including more attuned to how you deceive or lie or fool to yourself, where the Neptune can sort of reveal where you've done that, where you've not been true to yourself, where you have deceived yourself. This could end up by, being mean or devaluing yourself, or you're like, I'm going to do this, and in reality, you're not actually going to do it. and it can show up in a multiple variety of ways. But Neptune retrograde is going to ask you to get closer to what is real, what is really going on in your unconscious inner world. Yeah, it's a time to strengthen spirituality, especially as we have Saturn retrograding in Pisces. It's the time to look at what are your spiritual beliefs at this time. And so Saturn goes retrograde in Pisces, and it does not, it goes retrograde in Pisces for a shorter amount of time than Neptune goes retrograde in Pisces. So Neptune retrograde in Pisces is a longer, more extended version where you have more opportunities to use, work with, feel, and understand the energy of Neptune retrograde in Pisces, as opposed to Saturn retrograde in Pisces, because Neptune spends a longer time in a sign than Saturn does. So, this is a deep time, a really deep time, just like Pluto retrograde. This is where you are reviewing what are your dreams, what are your visions, what do you want to create, what do you want to imagine, anything have to do with creativity, anything have to do with channeling. Neptune rules channeling, where you're in the creative and open receptive space and you are bringing it down to reality. Saturn in Pisces. So anything that is mystical is ruled by Neptune. So reviewing your dreams at night, really taking a look at and spending more time reflecting and meditating on your dreams, the images, the symbols, and the deeper spiritual meanings of what goes on, and the release and the experiences that you have with your dreams are important to look at here. Could those dreams connect you with any fears, any self-sabotaging tendencies? Whatever it is. Yeah. So, without going on, Neptune retrogrades about 4 to 5 months out of the year. So it goes retrograde for that particular period of time. And so there's a sort of a separation between dreams and reality, the dream world, the spiritual world, and the real, practical, mundane, physical plane of existence, the 3D versus the 5D. So there may be hard to discern or draw clear lines and boundaries during this time, and discernment between these two, where you're sort of caught up in living in this multi-dimensional reality and outlook for your life, that may be there's just hard to again, discernment. So discernment is key here. And so Neptune also rules over intuition. So it is strengthening, not getting so caught up in getting caught up in an illusion or an idealization, or a sort of clouded, beautifully Pollyanna version of your life, and seeing things for what they are, that your intuition tells you these are the answers. This is the truth of what's going on. This is, again, what to do. This is just what you should do if you don't want to end up regretting a decision. So, yeah. The very final thing this week is we do have a little sextile going on July 1st of Mercury sextile Jupiter. So it's opportunity when there's a sextile, a sort of window of opportunity opens up to you where you can easily go towards it when there is a sextile. So Mercury sextile Jupiter is a good time for, first of all, planning for the future, seeing what you can do for the future, because Jupiter's hope and optimism. You're thinking more optimistically. You may be more curious, more expansive. You want to learn new things, study, travel, have an adventure, connect with more people. It's just a great day to have fun, and do something that expands your mind, and to really consider, wow, I have a lot in my life to be thankful for. And guess what? I'm going to give myself permission to have fun, celebrate my life, engage in what I want to today, and experience joy, and learn new things. So yeah. So we're seeing the future. We have more optimism, planning for what's to come in the future. Because Jupiter gives that optimism, like, let's do this. Let's, have this new idea. And Mercury, helps, with the details of how to implement it and make it a reality. Because it's thinking, the mind details what's going on in your environment, so you can make something happen and, plan things strategically. Mercury, while having an optimistic outlook on the future. Jupiter. So that is an extended weekly forecast for this week. I hope I didn't drain out every last bit of information like I feel that I sometimes do. I hope that it was not too much. Next week we do have that full moon in Capricorn, and I believe next week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think the following week after next week, Mars leaves Leo, enters Virgo. So anyway, that is your astrology for the week of June 25th through July 1st. And I hope that you enjoyed. Please, I would really encourage you to subscribe to this channel, to support it, to help it grow. Because one more subscriber, makes this community bigger, to show me, that you want to, that you like this content. I want it to get out to as many people as possible. So clicking that like button will definitely get this content out to more people as well. And comment on what you think of this video, and what your experiences are of the astrology of this week. And I'll see you next time.